So it's been
I
a couple of
think.
days since we've had the chance to catch up, and I guess first and foremost, congratulations on the milestone victory. You got to add a 0, and you got to put 2 numbers in front of it. Do you remember your first collegiate win?
No idea. I mean, as a head coach it would have been at University of Minnesota, but no, I don't. I remember a lot of things about coaching there in my first season,
Yeah.
but not the first win.
So what do you remember about that first season when you were a head coach?
Well, one time we were playing at Michigan State, and it was one of those games where they were just absolutely. We had just started Division I program. We went from being a club team. Anyways, they were pelting us, just shelling us. Like we barely could get out of the 18. We get this breakaway. We go down. We score a goal. We win 1-0. After the game, my assistant at the time, Lisa, we turned to each other and we just start laughing because we were like, we had absolutely no business. And having been on the other side of that now, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just a game of soccer. That can be the game of soccer. But yeah, that's one of the things I remember about that year.
Does it seem like it was just yesterday, or does it seem like it was, last Tuesday when you started coaching professionally, that it's been this kind of a run?
No, it seems like a long time ago. In that it's amazing how much I didn't know that I didn't know.
Huh.
That makes sense. There's so much stuff that I didn't realize that I didn't know when I was that young head coach and was like, full of myself and, just going for it.
North of 400 career wins. Obviously, we tip our hat to you, and we know that it has meant a lot of late nights, a lot of long travel on buses and vans, and the occasional plane and things like that. Last time we got to see you was in the opening round of the tournament, where you had the doubleheader at home, and you go from there up to Hampton, Sydney, or to Washington and Lee. You take care of business against Johns Hopkins and Pomona Pitzer. Your 2 takeaways, I guess, from those wins in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, where you beat Johns Hopkins 3-1. You get the 1 goal on Pomona Pitzer, 1-0. You're in another Final Four. What'd you learn about yourself at Washington and Lee?
I mean, they were just such great opponents. You got to that round of 16 and you know that you're going to run into the best of the best. And we ran into Johns Hopkins and Pomona Pitzer, and they absolutely delivered that. And we just really had to grit it out, and we had to stay the course, and we had to get better in the second half of both games. And playing back to back when you're playing that level of an opponent is just so physically demanding and exhausting and mentally tough as well. But just really proud of the team to be able to gut out those 2 huge wins and be where we had hoped to be. And we feel like we're exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, I was going to ask, when it comes to doing something when you're going Sweet 16, Elite 8, back-to-back days, how difficult is it to, from a coaching standpoint, study, because you've got to study, I think, 2 opponents to start, and then you get to knock one off. And so at least half of the work that you started just kind of goes into file 13, or it goes someplace else for later. Right. But then you've got to focus on the opponent that you do know, and you've got to make sure that your players are as educated as possible on the opponent that you do know now, as opposed to the 2 that you were looking at going in. So what is that entire creative process like to make sure that the coaches are ready, the team is ready, and that the philosophy is in place, even though I know you're probably focusing more on yourself, but you have a loose construct as to what the opponent's going to do on that.
Yeah, I mean, it is the quickest turnaround. I mean, you've got to feed your team. You've got to get them, luckily we had an indoor pool, so we could do a little bit of recovery. We get the leg boots on, our trainers massaging our players. I mean, all of that stuff is the quickest thing. And of course, the coaching staff, we were lucky enough to have the first game so we could stay and watch the second game. And then, you're watching as much film as you can and preparing as much as you can. But, when it's a quick turnaround, the focus so much is, sure, you need to understand the opponent and their strengths and what you can exploit and where you can take advantage of some things. But, it's so much about what you're focusing on your own team. At least we were really focusing on ourselves. I mean, Pomona was a fantastic opponent as well. But there's only so much information that your team can receive and process and, then go play in less than 24 hours.
And then it's getting ready in less than 24 hours. And then by the time you're playing Tufts in the Final Four, it's like a week and a half. And so it's like, how do you, I guess, have the information? Is it doled out? Is it front loaded when it comes to making sure that everything is ready to go, but you're still focusing and you're not waiting too much and the energy isn't wasted? I mean, you go from back to back to a week and a half. What's that transition like?
Yeah, and it's a tricky week and a half because, of course, Thanksgiving is in there. So I think we've spent the entire bus ride home. Luckily, it was a long one to figure out what was our schedule going to be and what was that going to look like and what was Thanksgiving Day going to look like and, planning our practices. And yeah, so the whole front side of it was just the planning of going back to the semifinals and the logistics of all of that. And then Thanksgiving was great. We had a Thanksgiving meal at my house with all of our staff and the team, and that was really fun. So that was a large part of it as well. And then it was kind of like, okay, we're playing Tufts, we really got to focus on that. And meanwhile, you're training through that entire process. So yeah, there's a lot of jumping around. And again, nice long bus ride. So today, I think I caught up on all the emails that I hadn't been paying attention to. So
then you're getting ready, and you have all of the players spread literally from state 1 to state 50. I mean, you've got like 5 time zones of players that you have as a part of that roster. What's it like? I know that they want to be with their families, but you're focusing on being with the family that you have there at Emory. What's it like to have the family, the local family, take over for the family that they may not get the chance to see over Thanksgiving holiday?
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the things that was our largest lesson, one of the greatest lessons we learned last year after losing in the semifinals is that we had traveled the weekend before for the 16 and 8. We got home. Everybody then flew home for Thanksgiving. We flew back. And it was just so much traveling that was one of the things, like, we're staying. If we can make it to the semifinals, we're staying. So the team stayed. So that was really great because we didn't have that, those moving pieces. And the families, the parents were amazing, super supportive. They were sending, desserts to my house for Thanksgiving meal. They sent beautiful bouquets of flowers. They were 100% on board supporting the decision to stay together for Thanksgiving and to train. And boy, they've just been amazing this entire time.
Okay, so what was the spread like? How diverse are we talking here? Are we talking normal stuff and then sending of desserts? See, now you have me fascinated as to what the spread was like.
Oh, it was 5 turkeys, 3 hams, tons of mashed potatoes. I think probably 4 different, at least, mac and cheeses. And then it was amazing because the players all brought sides. So there was like 3 mac and cheeses from those guys and sweet potato pie and green bean casserole. And, everybody just brought like their favorites. And it was, 4 tables of massive amounts of food. It was just a blast.
And then you all worked it off on Friday morning, right?
That's right. Yeah. Friday afternoon, but yes.
So what concerns you the most about Tufts, and what are you the most confident about in this matchup?
Well, at this point in time, all 4 of these teams are fantastic. And I mean, the 4 of us, I think, have been ranked 1, 2, 3, and 4 this, for weeks now. So we know that we are going to see a fantastic opponent in Tufts. Again, it's a chess game, right? Like, can we exploit the areas of the field that we think are their weaknesses while we're trying to lock down areas that they may try to exploit in ourselves? And, we've really been able to have some great defensive presence while being able to still deliver on the attacking end of the field. So, I think it's just going to be a great game. And what you would expect at this point in time, right? Like,
yeah,
what should be.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're all going to just stand there in the middle of the ring and take swings at each other for a good 15 rounds. When it comes to travel, I know that you mentioned the pre-Thanksgiving part of it, but going to Salem, Virginia from Atlanta, that's not like, hopping on a commuter flight going 45 minutes and you're locked in place. It's not like hopping in a car, fighting traffic, and, an hour later you're there. Logistically, how much of a challenge is it to, when you're not going to a transportation hub, coming from a transportation hub, to decide, okay, we leave, we fight traffic, we get there, we're locked in, then the physios take over, we get practice. What's that travel like?
You know what? We do so much flying because of our conference in the UAA that there's so much prep to fly, right? Like, you got to get there early, you got to get checked through, everybody in through security, sit there, wait for your plane, fly, get the bus, etc. In some ways, last weekend jumping on the bus and right out of Atlanta, we left, the last trip at 9 a.m. Today we left at 9:30. We all get on the bus, and it's really, sure, it's 7 hours, but the players have all of that time to sleep or study or a little bit of both, or, hang out and talk. And so it's really nice because there's not so much broken up time. There's like chunks of time. And with the weather being what it was, actually, we're pretty thankful that we're Atlanta here to Salem, easy trip. We stopped one time for lunch, and it was great, actually.
Okay, just checking, just to make sure that everything is locked in one piece as you get ready for it on Thursday. 6:30 p.m. start, Final Four, NCAA Division III. We'll be watching. We can't wait. And we're all going to be sitting there at the edge of our screens, making sure that everyone is making sure that Emory's watching what they need to watch, so you guys can advance to yet another win, chasing after another title. Thanks for hopping in on a busiest of busy weeks, plotting for a Final Four. Thanks for dropping by the morning show. Just be safe. Have a great match. We'll see you on the other side.
Great. Thanks, John.